offers that I make in Tacoma. The other reason why I focus on Yakima is just because I have so many staff there. I have the volume such that I've got two full-time handyman, landscaper, painter, housekeeper. And so they're able to, and I've got a full-time inspector, they're able to really go in strong and fast on properties when I buy them and such. And I just don't have that elsewhere. It's also the reason why I don't go out of state, where a lot of people are killing it going out of state. So I highly recommend, it's a great thing to do. But why I'm personally not doing it is just because I have all the systems in place to do it locally. And if I'm going to go buy something in Minnesota or someplace else, well, that means I've got to go make connections in Minnesota. And now I've got to set up new relationships and everything. And
unless you know Jennifer Beatles, guys, that's my point.
Yeah.
Beautiful Jennifer. Hey, Enrique, let me ask you, since we're on this subject matter, thanks to Troy. Where's my love, Troy? Are you there? Somebody just covered you up. So there he is. I don't know if it was you or Kevin that introduced us to Adrian Smoot. What a character he is, right? This guy, my wife buys mobile homes. We just recorded a podcast with him. It'll be out probably in the next month because we got him stacked up a bit. But it really interesting what he does. This is to Enrique or you, or maybe even Troy, when you listen to Adrian's podcast that we did. He basically does not fix up. Do you always I guess, Enrique, your properties? Do you you buy them and then fix them up and then refinance them?
Always, always, always. And I continually refinance them about every 5 years. So I'm pretty much always getting 5-in-1 arms so that I get the lower rate. And then I'm refinancing them prior to 5 years.
And so your loan to value on those is what? What do you keep?
Usually still about 80%, 80% LTV. Every once in a while, and some of the commercial, well, now they're all portfolio loans for me. My 10, conventional loans that's long ago. But some of the larger apartment, not that they're that big, 13 unit, and now I have got a 16 unit apartment building. Those are 75% LTVs.
Yeah. One thing interesting that Adrian is doing, which I thought was super interesting, and maybe it's because he's at these low price point mobile homes. This guy, Adrian Smoot, he'll join us sometime. He's in Florida though. He buys these mobile homes and he does not spend almost a dime on them. And then he advertises them for rent, and he makes the people go to the property and read the note on the window for the instructions on how to apply to rent it, right? And he purposefully, so then he knows he's not getting any tire kickers, that they've been at the property and they've seen it. Doesn't waste his time at all, right? If you want information about how to rent this property, it's posted in the window, go get the information, right? And then he has the instructions there. He also does not fix up the properties at all. I mean, of course he doesn't want them to have a leak, but he doesn't even paint them, because he is basically looking for tenants that aren't going to be a pain in the ass. Somebody who wants to move in to his property and says, don't worry about it. I'll paint it myself, right? He's almost vetting who's going to be a problem tenant or not by their willingness to just take on some stuff. So he knows, like, if the toilet doesn't work or whatever, but maybe that they're handy enough or willing to just change the handle themselves and not call him. He does on purpose not paint it and do that stuff to see who will step up and say, no worries, I'll do it. I think it was brilliant. It was such a smart vetting process of tenants, right? You know, these problem tenants who want to call you on all these things. And he literally ends up leasing to people who will take on minor issues themselves. You guys get what I'm saying? I thought it was so smart. Troy, that's a good one for you that Adrian Smoot is doing. You guys haven't met Adrian yet, but you will. And you'll be able to listen to his podcast. So I guess I'm bringing that up just as a fun thing of, you could buy like a rental property, and it's probably, I don't know if it's how competitive it is wherever your properties are, but attempt to do that. Set your rent, make them go, say, if you'd like to go to the property and see the instructions on how to make an application on this property or take a tour. He puts a lockbox on there. They tour themselves. I don't know if that's good or not. He uses Simply Safe or whatever he uses to camera the place up, but they let themselves in and they basically take a look at it and, do their application once they've been there and taken a look around. But he doesn't fix it up, and he just lets that vet itself out to see who's not going to be a pain in the ass for him. What do you guys think about that? What are the downfalls of that for Enrique, for you?
Yeah, so it's fine. Okay, so a slumlord of the mobile home industry. That's fine. Not
really. I'm not saying he's a slumlord. He's just it's just meaning that he's not saying gross. You get what I'm saying? It might not be. He doesn't make it perfect. Is my point. Right. Not slumlord. He just doesn't make it perfect.
The only difficulties I think that you can run into is the fact that there are some habitability laws. And so if someone were to say, oh yeah, it looks fine to me, they move in and then they contact you and say, hey, the appliances don't work, the electricity doesn't work, the plumbing doesn't work. Those are all habitability issues that the RCWs specifically address, and he's going to have to fix them. Even if they had a verbal agreement.
I guess I don't mean that kind of stuff. I mean cosmetically. Not cosmetically perfect, not habitability issues, but just not cosmetically perfect.
No, it's fine.
Are you sure he's not doing a rent to own?
I don't think he's always doing a rent to own when he does that. No.
Because like Enrique said, the only time I would do something like that is if it's a handyman special rent to own, where they have to do it to have it to own the house. And I'm pretty sure that's the strategy that he uses. It would put you at a lot of risk not to have a habitable home that you're renting.
You guys keep focusing on the habitable home thing. That's not what I'm talking about. I said cosmetically, like don't paint all the walls, right?
But it's a mobile home. It's all habitable, right? I mean,
I get what you're saying. So I guess I'm tantalizing you for the podcast that'll come up so you can hear. That's just my secret way of tantalizing you for this upcoming podcast. So you all listen to it. I found it was interesting in that way, but Kim, you had a comment. Go ahead. Kim put something in the chat. Oh, there's lots of chats. Let me see what's up. Too much sense of entitlement of ownership might cause much of their need. Might customize too much to their needs and tastes. Oh, she doesn't have a mic. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting. He's going to jump on with us one of these weeks and we'll ask him about.
I will say along those lines, I do know of a large property owner, properties that he personally owns, where he does not collect a security deposit and he doesn't clean or touch the places in between. He will make repairs, but he will just however that previous person moved out, he just says as is, renting it as is, and he won't collect a security deposit. And then when they move out, same thing. He's essentially, and he's a bit on the slummy side. So he's getting out of, he said he was tired of people suing him for security deposit refunds. So he decided to go that way. So it's a similar approach to the.
I think it's just an interesting discussion. If you can stay away from being a slumlord, I don't mean not taking care of your properties or whatever, but I don't know, just kind of an interesting topic. That's kind of interesting on the no deposit thing,
It'll be interesting to hear, Julie, but it just depends on what brand what is your brand and what do you want to be known for, I guess.
Right. No, I hear you.
And I wonder if that would even work. Like, I mean, we're in the Washington, I don't know about most of the people here, but in the Washington market for rentals, I feel like that'd be a really hard pitch. Like, go check it out. I don't know,
would it?
Fix it.
Are there people that
in my market for
housing?
Sure.
It would be hard in King County, but in Pearson Thurston County, I've got probably 10 people waiting for a place to open up that haven't seen it yet, don't know what it's going to look like. And I'm not doing mobile homes or anything, but maybe in King County, I think that you have a stronger level of rental requirements.
Right. So I'm saying that we have an affordable housing issue, right? We have an affordable housing issue. There are people that are handy that if you can keep the rent lower because you're not flipping it to hold, that serves a segment. I find it interesting, like, go ahead, Wendy.
I'm not a slumlord. I'm just going to state that right now. And I'm in the Tri-Cities, and I had a very similar approach as this guy in Florida. And I made sure all my major issues were done, but because I wanted to keep my rents inexpensive, because again, I'm in the Tri-Cities, minimum wage was what, $15 an hour, and the rents on my duplexes were more than most people bring home every 2 weeks. And so in exchange, I would give them the opportunity, if they wanted to make it their own, they could paint it. If they were handymen, they could take care of the place and I would reduce their rent. So it's just creative thinking to help people get affordable housing. And it doesn't mean we're giving them slums to live in.
That's my point.
There's still pride of ownership in our homes. And just because we don't have granite countertops and brand new carpet and brand new flooring doesn't make us a slumlord. It means we're trying to help people that need a place to live that's safe, healthy, and clean.
Right on, right on. I just find it interesting, right? I don't know why. Then my mind goes, well, does that affect financing somehow? Or will that determine anything? Well, if it's a house, it's not valued off the rent, right? If you wanted to sell it, or you needed to, I don't know, what's the financing talk if you were going to, I'm just on a tangent today, you guys. We can switch subjects. I didn't mean to, I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting, kind of one of the interesting conversations that I've had in the last 2 weeks. So I thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah, no, I think at the right price, there's going to be, a demand out there. So you lower the price enough, somebody's going to take it, even if it has nothing, and looks like hell. Somebody's going to take it. And I'm sure that most of the time it probably just works out just fine where they fix it up. But I do think that there is some liability there. But I think it's also similar to flippers flipping, where it was always in the beginning, or not always, where you would typically see flippers that are making the house beautiful. And nowadays there are flippers who just, they buy it, they just go in, broom clean it, and then relist it.
That is what I'm telling you is the money today. Why? I believe that's my soapbox issue, right? If you can purchase a property off market at a discount, the market is so crazy right now. I challenge you guys to just clean it up, broom clean, like he says. Maybe make sure there isn't water in the basement or something, but I wouldn't worry about the roof even. But no water in the basement inside the house, or no active leaks, necessarily inside. You can have an old roof that looks like it needs to be replaced that might not get a certification, and you would list it that way anyways, as long as it's not dripping water or big stains inside the interior of the house. But I think that people that flip, they flip because they like to flip, right? And they want to have their brand out there. But like I said, I convinced Justin Stiles on my VIP education community, who picked up a property in Everett off market. That's his full time. He's a flip, general contractor, design build guy. And I said, list it for sale right away. And if you don't get the price that you want, then take it off and keep going with your flip. He crushed it, right? He crushed it. So I call it prehab. That's what I call it, is a prehab. And if anybody can do that right now, probably in any market that you're in, how does it hurt you? You don't get a ding on the property if you pull it off the market, if you don't get the price that you want, because by the time you go put it back on, you're going to have done your rehab. List it on the market, as is, right? When you pick it up initially. I find that interesting. I find that interesting. Gus, you guys should get a partner and do that. You guys should close on your wholesale deals with a partner and throw them right back on the market, and make some more money. He's a wholesaler. What's up, everybody? Anybody else? Somebody else bring up something they want to talk about.
Hey, Julie, I got a question for the group.
Yes, sir.
This is Aaron. So I'm kind of nurturing a seller in Kent, who's got a nice dividable lot with the house at one side. So it's going to be a situation where I'm looking to buy and hold and then split the lot. But since I've done that before, I don't really have that appetite to do all that myself. So I'm trying to get some creative ideas of how to structure a partnership with another investor who might want to do the legwork to get that lot divided. So what are some thoughts about a partnership structure for if I were to buy the house and hold the house in front while somebody else divided the back, and then eventually, got that lot and the buildability of it, but I'd get a little something.
Yeah, we have one in Aberdeen that.
Somebody's talking. Yeah. So I guess it depends on whoever you're partnering, what they're going to do. You're just going to split it and sell it, or you're going to, split it, sell off the lot, and then, have low debt on your other purchase and keep it as a rental. Depends on, who your partner is going to be, I guess, right? Probably no problem finding you a partner. Even Jared might even want to partner with you on something like that. But are you asking what should the percentage split be on who does
just some
what?
Different structured ideas? Because, my thought is I'd like to hold the front house. And so I'd probably buy the house with longer term financing on the front house. I just don't want to do all the legwork to divide off the property. So
who does that all the time is Justin Stiles.
Yeah.
He keeps the front and he sells off the back. And you should talk to him on how that works. Justin.
Yeah, no, I know how to do the process. I'm just trying to think if I was going to bring on a partner, I'm trying to think of ideas of what would be the incentive, just some, incentive ideas that would be fair, that it seems to be fair. Cause like I said, I would bring financing in on the front house. I don't want to do the work of subdividing. I've done it before. It's just a long process. Some people love that. Have no desire to build. But I'd like to see the back lot divided off and, trying to think of what might be a good incentive for someone, what should they bring in? What should I, that kind of stuff. Just some
Why don't
thought.
you just hire a architect that you pay him $125 an hour to handle the whole thing with you without a partner?
That's a good idea.
Right? Then you don't even need a partner. I think your partner is, otherwise, I think your partner probably will tell you what they're willing to take in order to do it. Are you looking for you're not looking for a financial partner necessarily. You're looking just for somebody that's going to take on the burden of subdividing the lot. Then the question is, are you going to then build on it, or do you want to build it, or do you want to sell it, or what? Right?
That'd be up to the partner. Yeah.
Huh?
That'd be up to the partner.
Right. I mean, it seems to me like you might as well just hire an architect, get it all entitled, and then just whoever your partner is, just somebody then is going to build the lot. Maybe instead of selling it, you bring on a partner to build it, maybe, or find a builder partner in the beginning, right? And you get to stay in the deal, even though they all do all the work because it's your lead, your property, right? So
that's an interesting idea. And just hire it out.
I had one of Gordon on my VIP education community. I introduced him to my favorite builder, which I could do for you also, Aaron. Okay. I can hit me up, remind me, send me a text on that. And cause he actually is from Kent. And he is an awesome builder. He might have interest, but what I had him do is I hooked him up with Gordon on my VIP education community, and Gordon had the property. It was actually his neighbor's property, and they partnered up, and my builder built the house. Okay. And they had an agreed upon set price that the builder, he had however their contract was written for him to build the house. But if Gordon sold the house for over and above X price, then him and the builder split the proceeds. So Gordon got to keep up to X amount of the sale price of this new construction house. Right. And then it ended up, it was like 900,000 was the strike price, but we sold it. I helped them sell it for like $1,150,000. So anything above 900, the builder and Gordon split. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Interesting.
And I can introduce you and set you up with that if you want. And you can talk to my guy who did that with Gordon.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Anybody else have an idea for Aaron or?
Hey, Julie.
I guess.
Hey, nice idea. We have one in Aberdeen that needs a little bit of work, but we could actually list it. Being wholesalers, though, we don't really want to close on it, and out of the country. So, if there is somebody who wants to partner with us, that's an idea.
That wants to partner on it to close it. So you're bringing the, okay, and it's in Aberdeen. And, how much room is there on it? Like, you can text me the details, and I might be able to hook you up with somebody there. Unless anybody else here wants to partner with Gus and close on a property. What's the spread? You got what are the numbers? Come back to us.
Well, the rough numbers are about, we can pick it up for about 200. And the ARV is about 3.
That's
20.
ARV, but what is it worth if you were to just list it as is, just broom clean it?
Maybe, traffic here. As is, we reckon it needs about 60K in work. So.
But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about not doing the work. The whole challenge is don't do the work. So what's it worth?
So I would reckon about 260, 280.
260 or 280 is what it's worth as is.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Well, here you go. That's plenty of room for somebody to do that, right? Does anybody want to talk to him about those numbers? Anybody? Alex, Alex? Hey, Marissa, Marissa says she's interested.
Okay.
Yes, you see Marissa's contact?
Marissa Beach?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Hey, Marissa. So it is on the SIC, the SIC Facebook page, and Cindy's details are there, so just get in touch with Cindy.
Okay, and Alex, we got Alex here with Certain Lending, right? Alex, do you ever say like, hey, I know of a buyer that would be up for that, and bring it to one of your guys' clients with Certain Lending?
We do that occasionally. We try not to do it too often though, because we are a lender, right? We don't want to show too much favoritism towards anyone.
Gotcha.
But we'll have a situation where we'll have one of our clients just say, hey, look, I just want to find a partner on this deal, and we've got a couple of folks that we'll sometimes reach out to for that.
Okay. Jenny Moore, you're on.
Yes, ma'am.
Text me so I can give you an idea of who to connect to this that I'll put on you.
Okay.
Just text me. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Anybody else got a deal that they want to share?
A deal. This is a property in Hawaii, single family residence. I'm Deb Starr, by the way, just property manager, investment property owner. The property purchase price is $700 and the down payment's going to be $300. So looking for a hard money loan at $400,000. Is that something, Alex, that you would take a look at, or can you lend in Hawaii?
We can lend in Hawaii. However, the property needs to be in a fairly major city.
It is.
One of the issues. Actually, on the Big Island, actually, one of the issues that we run into a lot is that we basically, our lending partners don't really like the Big Island very much because of volcanic activity. They're kind of spooked by,
Yeah.
Are you on the Big Island, Deb?
Yeah, it's on the Big Island. I don't think it's near the volcanic activity, though. I know where you're talking about. The south end.
I know somebody you can talk to.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can definitely link you to some folks.
Is it you're trying to buy it?
Well, I'm not, but a very good friend of mine is, and he came to me for the hard money, and I don't right now have the ability to do this. So I told him I would ask around if there's others in this group.
I know somebody.
A temporary loan, and it'll only be 3 to 6 months because he will at one point fix it up and refinance it.
I got somebody for you that's in Hawaii.
Perfect.
Do you know who Kekoa is?
No.
I don't know, Joe, if you can find Kekoa's contact information. Kekoa, and his last name is Lwin. Joe's gonna find it for you. They actually they own basically I think a lending type of company, as well as they do flips in Hawaii. One partner's there and one partner's here. Kekoa Lwin, I think is his last name. There you go.
Yeah, I've got his email here. I'll put it in the chat.
There you go.
Cool. And then I had one other question, if I may. This was regarding the February 4th session last week. I missed it, but I listened to it on YouTube, which was awesome. And there was a woman on there named Mariana Vallejo. I don't know if you guys remember.
I know who she is. Yeah.
She said something very interesting to me. I'd like to get in touch with her. I don't know how I can get in touch with her. I tried to find her on Facebook, but couldn't find her.
Okay.
Anybody know how to get in touch with her, or how we
send her name? Send her name to Joe's gonna try and find her. Yeah.
Thanks.
I know exactly who she is.
Okay, cool.
Do you have her name written down?
Yeah.
Can you text that to or message that to Joe at seattleinvestorsclub.com? He's looking it up. He might have found it.
Thank you.
Yeah. What'd you find interesting? What'd she say?
She's looking for a townhouse in Seattle. She can't get financing on it, and she wants to buy it as a rental property. She mentioned she wanted a live workplace, and I've got one of those, and I'm doing seller financing.
Awesome. Yeah. So why don't you tell us the properties that you're offering for sale right now on seller financing, if there's more than one?
Only this one. It's a live work townhome in the Central District.
Okay. There you go.
Super cool.
I dropped her contact for you in the chat.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much, Joe.
So you got a live work Central District place that you're asking how much for and how much down?
600 and 10% down, no PMI.
Okay.
Move-in ready. 2650. It doesn't really cash flow, I don't think, for an investor unless you have a lot of money down. It's got a rooftop deck with a 180-degree view of the city. It's a nice place.
Drop your contact information in the chat, so because people will listen to this recording after the fact, right? And say what you have. I have a live work seller finance opportunity for somebody, and just type the details in the chat so anybody who listens to the video might hook you up.
Thank you.
What else we got, guys? Anybody else have anything going down? Who else do we have with us here today? Dante, what's going down with you, brother?
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, I was actually cooking.
How's the weather in LA?
I'm actually in Miami right now, visiting a friend.
Oh.
Working remotely a little bit.
Right on.
I've been working with the seller for the past few weeks, just trying to find, so this is for a big house in LA. It was listed at 1.2. Big house. I can get 12 rooms to rent to college students. So I've been working on him for a little while. He was open to seller financing at first, and he decided he didn't want to. I have the price down to, I offered a 925. It's a little bit low, but his house is a little weird for the area for a normal purchase. It has like a lot of rooms. It doesn't have a backyard and whatnot. So I've been just working with him past few days. And today we were talking about a master lease where I would just lease it from him from 3 to 5 years, and I would run my model and make my money that way. But he's been a little bit difficult to work with, so we'll see how that goes.
Well, master lease, is that meaning that when you do the master lease with him and that, so he's Dante does the boarding house style rent by the room properties, right? And when you do that, you can either purchase the property and do it, or you're talking about a master lease in the sense that, would you be giving him a guaranteed rent, or would he just share in the ups and downs?
Guaranteed rent. I think that'd probably be better for me.
Super risky though, right? Especially with COVID. Like, don't
do it.
Yeah,
a little risky.
Don't do it.
my house that I have that has 9 bedrooms is 5 minutes from there, and this is even closer to the main school. So I know the rents, I know the prices, I know there's going to be demand. Might be a little bit rough at first for a few months until like the fall gets started for college.
Why not just do a deal with him where you operate that for him for a cash flow split rather than take on the master lease? Is because you don't want to deal with him?
Yeah. I feel like we would bump heads a little bit on how we want to run the business, because he tried to do this the business and try to run it himself, and he's just doing that.
What does that say? There's an alarm going off? Smoke alarm?
Yeah, there's no alarm. Yeah, apparently there's no fire, so we're good. No, so he's trying to run the business, but he's doing a lot of. Sorry about that.
Crazy.
No, so he's doing a lot of things wrong. So he doesn't believe that it should be operated the way I think it should be operated. So I don't think I want to work with him in that aspect.
Got it. Anybody else here do rent by the room or boarding house style stuff at all? Jai, you do that? How's it going for you?
Well, it's similar in model, because I only, like, all my rentals are for student housing near the major universities here in Washington. So we advertise them as rent by room, but one thing I like to do is make sure that they have their own group. So a lot of the students from like dorms, and they'll like put out their own ads, and they'll figure out their own group, and they'll come as a group. Even though it's a rent by room model, there's always one person in charge of the rent. So then I don't have to, when I first started, I would always get separate rents, and there's always that one person that's like 3 weeks late or what have you. And so I just now kind of switched it up in the last couple of years.
How does that work if one of them doesn't pay?
Well, I use Cozy, right? I don't know if many other people do, but I go through Cozy, and I encourage them to set up automated payments. So they deal with it in-house. Like it doesn't really matter to me if one of them hasn't paid the other. So their automated payments get paid through, and then they pay each other through Venmo, what have you.
And if you guys are interested in knowing more about Cozy, we did do a podcast with Cozy. Maybe Joe will find it. Find the Cozy podcast if you can, Joseph, and drop it in the chat. Good stuff.
It got bought out, right, by apartments.com, I think.
Did they?
I think so, yeah. Recently acquired.
Still operating, or?
Yeah, still operating as cozy.co, but I think their parent company is apartments.com now.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. The owner made a killing on that sale there.
I bet.
Good
I wonder
stuff.
if we're going to start charging fees, because I think right now they only charge a fee if you want to expedite your rent, right?
Yeah, that's the only fee they charge. I don't think they're no major like Zillow, apartments.com. Nobody charges for rent collection, right? Unless it's expedited, but I think they make their money on like credit check and background check, and that's really where
they make the money off the application fees, correct?
Application fees, yeah.
Kim just posted in the chat, if you guys didn't see it because her mic doesn't work. She said, have you guys ever heard of Tenant Cloud? Tenant Cloud. If you have a link to it, Kim, drop it in the chat.
I was actually on Zoom, another Zoom call with a real estate group from San Francisco, and the CEO of Hemlane or Henlane? I forget what it was. I can look it up, but that seemed like a really interesting software. It's like a property management software where they set up, like you have a monthly payment, and then they set up a contractor on site. They have a 24/7 call line, so tenants can call there. So it kind of eliminates, especially if you're self-managing.
Joe, you should see if you can find them, or if you can find it, Jai, drop it in the chat. Maybe we'll do a podcast with them and find out what they're all about.
Yeah, it's called Hemlane.
Hemlane.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else got anything they need help with today? Anybody need help with anything today? Thomas, what's up with you? Good to see you, brother. What's happening? Thomas, can you hear us? Oh, Alex needs a recommendation on a plumber for Seattle. Plumber for Seattle.
Yeah, I got a house over on Beacon Hill that I need to repipe. Looks like all the piping is about 50 years old, so I'd rather just replace it right now while I'm doing some renovations anyways, than wait until it starts busting.
Alex, I got a recommendation that I just actually redid a whole new water line for my Seattle house. And it came in fraction of what Seattle companies were charging. But it's a company based out of Everett, but they will come out and do jobs in Seattle for a discount. Like only major jobs they'll come out for. It's called Apollo Plumbing.
Apollo Plumbing?
Yeah, they're based out of Everett, and it's like fraction of the cost of Seattle companies.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Hey, I appreciate the recommendation. Thanks, Jay.
Yeah.
Right on, Jay. What else is going on today? We got about 10 minutes left here. Anybody have anything they want to share? Need help with anything?
Jai, is there any interest in a boarding room style house at EWU? Do you have any interest in that? It's a mixed use commercial property that's been for sale for a while and it's completely rented out. Do you have any interest in Eastern Washington?
I'm always interested. Like if it makes sense, sure, yeah. Maybe I can send you my email.
Yeah, send me your email because it's been for sale by a realtor for a while and she's had it rented out. It's got like 10 bedrooms in it and it's boarding room style and it's across from EWU.
Okay, perfect.
And Wendy's gonna negotiate a badass deal for you.
I like it.
How you guys gonna connect? You want to drop your contacts in the chat? There could be some other latecomers that
I can chat it.
Might be interested. What else is happening? Dion, did you put your YouTube stuff in the chat?
I did. And if anybody wants to help, I'm looking for a fourplex in and around Phoenix. It's going to be my next house hack. So
you're moving to Phoenix?
Back and forth. I'm adding a campus there for our school. And so 2 months there, 2 months here, 2 months there, back and forth. And I'd rather get paid.
Tell us what your school is. So, or you guys can listen to the podcast that we did with Dion if you want to hear me cry at the end. Go ahead and tell us what you do. What's your day job?
My day job is I run commercial driver school, the big trucks that drive all over Washington. If you live here, you've probably been stuck behind us. And then I run a nonprofit that does job placement assistance. So we're branching out in Arizona is the next place. And I'm addicted to house hacking. So I'll buy a fourplex there, keep one here and get paid to live in both places.
Nice.
What's Dion's YouTube channel name? I saw the link to one of your shows, but is there a name, like if we want to Google search you in there?
Yeah, Dion Talk Financial Freedom.
Yeah. Thank you.
Dion Talk Financial Freedom. So Dion, so are we saying that if anybody here knows anybody that is in between jobs or looking for a new career, tell us how Dion, we're going to have a little uplift for friends and family or people that we know that are lost their job or in between jobs and need training with a new skill. Let's talk about that for a minute because we got Dion here that might have something.
Okay.
Also, I want to say that a mobile notary is in high demand. If you know anybody that needs side work, mobile notary. But Dion, tell us how people can get a job or think about some new training skills.
Sure. I usually don't bring it up. I try not to self-promote. I run a nonprofit, and what the nonprofit does is free job placement assistance anywhere in the United States. It's called a hidden job market, literally thousands of jobs that nobody's applying for. In just Washington state, there's a little over 6,000 registered transportation companies. When we think of trucking companies, myself included, we all picture drivers. Everybody forgets about the office, warehouse, HR, IT, operations, logistics, forklift, mechanic, everything you can imagine. So for free, if they reach out to us, and it's just hiddenjobs.org, I'll put that in the chat too. We will ask background questions, find out where they live. The employers we work with are nationwide. And how we got involved with the hidden job market is I run a truck driving school, and with the driver shortage and then the pandemic hitting, every trucking company is trying to find drivers and they can't. Nobody wants to drive a truck. So they take their current staff, like their forklift driver or their IT specialist, or Oak Harbor Freight Line sent in their terminal manager. We train them to become a driver so they get promoted to be the driver, which leaves their position vacant. and no applicants. Sometimes when someone comes and sits with one of our specialists and goes and applies for the position, they're actually the only application the employer even gets. And this isn't like entry-level jobs. This is, we place the chief of internet security for the entire Les Schwab tire company here in Washington State. We place DoD positions, DSHS positions, and it's all done for free. It's a 501c3. We don't charge the person a penny, and we don't charge the employer. What we get out of it is our truck driving school doesn't have to do what other truck driving schools do. Normally, to get your CDL, people go through a school and then they drive over the road for 2 years to get experience, making like $6 an hour, and they're gone all the time and life sucks. And 2 years later, they get a really good local job. With our nonprofit, helping people get these office and warehouse jobs, we've developed relationships with local companies. So our CDL graduates get to go to work for local companies right out of school, starting at $84,000, $87,000 a year, never have to spend the night away from home. So if you have a friend, a neighbor, or a tenant that needs work so they can pay their rent, which I've actually used, send them to our nonprofit. We'll help them get a job. And for every person we help get a job, you're actually doing us a favor, because that's how the school maintains those relationships with local trucking companies. And I'm done with my sales pitch now, but thanks for bringing it up, Julie. Appreciate it.
Hey, I'd like to do a podcast just on that. It doesn't, I
I'm
don't care.
absolutely game for that, guys. I love helping people find jobs. I could have retired on my 14 units a couple of years ago and just never worked again, but I get to come to work and play in a semi like it's a go-kart. And I get to sit down with somebody whose life is upside down because they're not working and help them find a job and not charge them a penny. So
Joe, can you
do this forever
on the podcast booking calendar again? And let's just help people on this podcast. We'll do a podcast on, how to get a job. I mean, how to find a job or whatever. We'll call it something. And we'll talk just on that. We don't always have to talk about real estate, right? So that would be good for the general public to hear. Because that is, don't you guys agree? Raise your hand if you think what he just said is badass. Now, you want to listen to that. That's now you know why I cried at the end of that podcast, right?
Still feel bad.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I just got the chills while he told me that, right? We want to help people, right? We want to help people, period. So very good stuff, brother. All right, guys, 12:24. Anybody else? Troy, what's going on in your world?
We get our appraisal back today, so I get to make big decisions based on what the appraisal says on our park.
Did you see it yet, or you don't know yet?
No, it hasn't come in yet, but
oh man,
today's the day. So
tantalizing.
Yeah, we're hoping it comes in above 2.5, so we can list and sell and move on to the next.
And what, you bought it for 700 or what?
750. Yeah.
750.
14 months. So.
How much you put into it so far?
160.
So you're into it for 900 or so, 910. Damn. My God, you're going to be able to afford to take me to a swanky dinner when we get out of this pandemic, right?
No, because I got a 1031 it all.
Oh, you got a 1031 it all. Okay.
Yeah,
good enough. I understand.
I was hoping Bill was going to show up again this week so I could be like, hey, Bill, talk about DSTs.
Yeah. Well, I can get him to show up next week. Is that soon enough?
I already put in a call to his office.
Right on. Anybody else here today? Thomas, I was trying to pick on you. Yes, that was you I was trying to pick on. What's up?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, I do have a question for the group. So I have a duplex. It's inside a lot with it's basically next to another duplex. I have about 15 feet to the property line, and there is a green belt, basically just some vegetation, some flower bed that the last owner built. And if I want to build a garage, I need to be able to move it basically right to the property line because it's about 2 feet into my property line. It's been there for 12 years. There is also some sort of a law regarding if it's been there and I don't object to it, then it basically belongs to the person that invaded it. Is there a way I can actually work it out?
Anybody have any comment? Enrique, you know anything about that? He's talking about adverse possession, I think, would be something.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So for some reason, I want to say that that person who is on that property. Now, I don't know, but I'm just talking out loud here, see if anybody else, Kim, I don't know if you know anything about this, but that I don't know if they actually have to actively take action on it. I mean, if a flower box or whatever it is that's there was just sitting there and nobody'd actually maintain it or work on it or showed up on it, and it was just there for 10 years, that might be different than if they actually were planting stuff there and tending to it and all that other stuff. So which situation is it?
Well, if I want to build a car garage, the city is going to measure it and make sure that it goes to my property line, and that flower box basically acts as a fence line, and it would appear that I am 2 feet short.
But does that flower box get tended to and actively touched by the other person?
No.
That might be a defining line there. I mean, it's worth, you're going to get that answer with probably $80 out of your pocket by asking an attorney that question, right? I don't have the answer.
Okay. They are not actively tending to the flower box, but what they do is they do use the 2 feet over to basically get access to their little storage, their little shed, to walk behind their shed. So they do walk around that daily. So I don't know if that consider open and notorious use of it that I didn't say anything for 10 years.
Have they already given you crap about it, or they have no clue that you want that space back?
They have no clue yet, and I want to approach it as carefully as I can.
Yeah, I think I would attempt to probably just tell them, hey, I'm going to be building a garage, just a heads up. I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, this would be a lawyer advice. I
think it's worth talking to a lawyer. I don't think you're going to want to take any chances. So, they may be real easygoing people and not worry about it, but they could also decide that no, it's ours. So,
I mean, what would it hurt? I'm not a lawyer. Go ahead, Dion.
So I've had some disputes like this with tenants too, not tenants too, but a place where I was adding sheds. And it was a pretty easy conversation when I offered to move the problem for us was the way their easement was shaped. And if I moved the entire, which was like a road, over, and I paid for the cost of that, they were fine with it. So if you're asking that this just goes away, that might not be the solution. But if you could take the cost of whatever it takes to move it, those 2 feet that you need, or 3 feet to give you it, that might give you a better position in the conversation than just going to an attorney and saying you have to do this because of the law. But that's how I would approach it.
Yeah, totally. So my take on that is I have one chance to make kind of the first impression. I don't want to approach that with a more legalistic manner if I don't have to. But if I take back that 2 feet, they have no way of accessing their shed. And so one way I've been thinking might be to do is that, hey, let's just do a handshake on this. I need to remove that so that the county, the city doesn't make me short 2 feet. We just don't have a boundary, and you just go ahead and walk.
How big is the shed?
4 by 10.
Is it movable? Can you move it a couple of feet?
Negative.
Okay.
Yeah, I think talking to an attorney just to know what your position is doesn't mean you have to take like an adverse approach to the other person. But if you have a better sense of what is defensible, it just helps in the conversation, and again, how you approach them is totally up to you, but having that in your back pocket before you talk to them, very helpful, just to know what grounds you can stand on. And then just, I love Dion's idea, just even if you have every right to it, coming in there with some kind of win-win would definitely be helpful to them. But then if they get all porcupine on it, then, at least you have grounds to stand on to do it anyway. But, you started by trying to work something out for them because, you're not trying to be a jerk about it. I just think that's money well spent, just knowing where you stand.
Yeah, agree.
And having any sort of hostile, neighbor can be a problem in itself down the road. So I think definitely if you can, you know, approach this with some sort of amicable deal, is going to be better for you in the long run. Because I've seen people that end up having really bad neighbors, and it's not a pretty sight.
Probably,
totally.
if you're not taking away their access to it or taking away what it is they're using, and you're able to, didn't you just say that they can walk around and still get access to it on a handshake?
That's what I'm thinking, because the neighbor is pretty friendly, but he once in a while he would just make decisions that I never thought he would have. So it's a little bit unpredictable, but overall friendly. So that's kind of my thought and approach. I kind of hesitating on making any call on that for a few months. So yeah, probably I need to talk to an attorney. Can anybody recommend me an attorney for that? An attorney for estate planning?
Estate planning? Anybody have
Yes.
an attorney they like?
So basically, I have 4 small children. I want to make sure if my wife and I die in the same accident, I want my kid to go to a specific person, and I don't want
Anybody
to
have an
take
attorney
possession
they
of my kid.
like? I'm sure Cynthia Melton's firm can handle all that. Does anybody have an attorney they like? I'm actually looking, I have all that set up, and my attorney just moved out of state, no longer practices in Washington. I need to update my will and my trust stuff. So I need that too, but I would probably say Cynthia Melton's office might be a good place to start. Finney Ridge Law. Oh, Kim's posting Finney Ridge Law or Dimension Law Group. They have a bunch of different specialties in addition to property. So you might be able to handle your property issue and your estate planning at one firm with Dimension Law Group. They're in Tukwila. Cynthia Melton. It'd be one.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep. And Cynthia is S-Y-N-T-H, not a C. It's a S, S-Y-N-T-H-I-A. All right, guys, 12:35. Time to get back to it. Joe and Dion, if you guys are I would love to do that podcast with the jobs thing. Would be awesome. Any other topics that you think we should cover that you guys would like to cover on a podcast, or just like me to find somebody to come join us on a Thursday about any specialty topic or anything like that? If you guys ever think of something like that, I'm going to put my message in the chat here, or my phone number in the chat here. If I can figure out how to do that. But my battery's running low. If you guys ever need to reach me, just hit me on my text. Best place. Oh, did that just go to Joe? That only went to Joe. I don't know why that's not working for me. What is happening here? All right, guys. Over and out for this week. Joe can't talk. I was going to ask him something, but he can't talk right now. So we'll catch you guys next week. And have a good week, everybody. Stay safe in the snow if you're in the Seattle area. That should be fun.